Hello, welcome to the Sound of Science, the place where we deconstruct unscientific bogus and silly scams. Let's go get them. Hello, my fellow critical thinkers. Welcome back and thanks for watching. For a long time now, I've been wanting to make a video about Jordan Peterson, and finally, that moment is here. Jordan Peterson is one of the true superstars of the internet. He has over 7.5 million subscribers on YouTube, and that is very impressive for a psychologist who basically just talks in videos. The stupendous popularity of Jordan Peterson has always surprised me a bit, because to me, much of what Jordan Peterson says about religion and atheism doesn't seem to make any sense. Now, I'm not telling you that everything that Jordan Peterson says is nonsense. Peterson is a psychologist, and I suppose that when he talks psychology, he knows what he's doing. But when Jordan Peterson starts talking about religion and atheism, suddenly his scientific attitude seems to vanish, and he becomes a true wordsoup charlatan, just like all the other Christian apologists who gibberish their way into internet fame. So, recently I stumbled into a clip of Jordan Peterson that is called "What the Atheists Tend to Miss," and about everything he says in this clip is totally hollow rubbish, void of any significant verifiable facts, data or evidence, or even any clear statement regarding atheists or what they supposedly miss. So let's dive into this and analyze and deconstruct the words of Jordan Peterson.
The atheist types, the rationalist types, there's something they miss. And
okay, gotta stop you right there. Of course, an atheist is not the same as a rationalist. An atheist is someone who does not believe your claim that a God exists. And a rationalist is someone who bases their opinions on reason, knowledge, and facts. So that is something entirely different. Of course, an atheist can be a rationalist, and a rationalist can be an atheist, but in the same way that a chess player can be a stamp collector as well. They are totally different things. They just don't contradict each other. And brushing them together as if they are one is not very accurate. Peterson is already bending the meaning of words in his first sentence. And most of the time when Christian apologists start bending the meaning of words at the beginning of their plea, they are setting up some kind of straw man argument in which they pretend as if atheism holds a certain position, that in reality it doesn't. Then they attack that fake position that no atheist ever took, and then they cry victory for vanquishing an atheist position that never was an atheist position in the first place. People like John Lennox and William Lane Craig do this all the time when they talk about atheism. But let's not get ahead too much. Let's listen to what else Jordan Peterson has got to say.
what they miss is that fiction isn't false.
What? Wait, I gotta stop you right there again. Now, if you present a video that you call "What the Atheists Tend to Miss," then the title of your video is a claim. Your claim is that atheists somehow overlook an important argument that undermines the atheist position. And because atheism is just not believing the claim that a God exists, if you tell us that atheists overlook some important argument, then you're basically telling us that that argument is an important argument for the existence of your God. And we atheists fail to see that. So the title of your video basically contains two claims. First one is, you've got some important argument for the existence of your God. And second, we atheists have overlooked that argument up to now. But guess what? Nothing of what you're going to say in this clip even comes close to an important argument for the existence of your God that we as atheists are missing. Your entire video demonstrates nothing that atheists supposedly miss. I thought it would be important to tell that in advance. Peterson is not delivering in this clip. He's just making an empty claim about atheists missing something. and in his entire video he demonstrates no such thing. And the direction that Peterson chooses in his sentence already shows that. What atheists are missing is fiction isn't false. First of all, that's got nothing to do with atheism. Atheism doesn't make the claim that fiction is false. And in your clip you will show 0 atheists claiming that fiction is false, so the main premise of your video is totally meaningless. And you're not going to support this premise with any facts or data, so this is a clear example of Jordan Peterson just abandoning his scientific attitude and just making baseless claims without any evidence to support them. On top of that, you're simply wrong, because fiction is false. Fiction are stories about imaginary events and people. Fiction is something that is invented or untrue. You know, stuff that is false. So fiction is false. And if you now claim the opposite, it's reasonable for me to expect a clear explanation with examples that demonstrate why fiction is not false. Fiction isn't false certainly is a remarkable claim that needs evidence to be taken seriously. So what do you've got?
What they miss is that fiction isn't false. It's not a lie, right? It's not literal, but it's not a lie.
But what are you doing now? You now seem to turn false things into lies, which are totally different things. When a statement is false, it is simply not in accordance with reality. I could say something that is false without even knowing it. A lie is something totally different. A lie is a false statement that is deliberately made in order to deceive people. So, we're only into the second sentence of Jordan Peterson, and again, he's bending the meaning of words outside of their actual meaning. That is often a very bad sign. When Christian apologists are changing the meaning of words, they usually try to set up a straw man argument. So, let's see what else happens.
And great fiction is true.
No, great fiction is not true. Great fiction may be great, but it is still fiction, and therefore untrue. If you look up the word fiction in a dictionary, you will see that that is the case. And what in Sauron's name does all of this has got to do with atheism?
And great fiction is true, but it never happened. So how can it be true?
Yes, indeed, fiction never happened. So what do you want? Is fiction true or untrue? At least make some kind of choice before making an even bigger mess of this.
And the answer to that is something like...
The answer to what? There is no relevant question here. Fiction is untrue. And all you do is trying to change the meaning of the word for some reason. But okay, what is your answer to this non-existent question? And what does it got to do with atheism?
And the answer to that is something like, well, there are patterns in things, deep patterns.
Yes, some things have patterns, and some things don't have patterns. And all of that has got nothing to do with fiction, nothing to do with atheism or with atheists missing something. And you don't make things deep by calling them deep. Oh boy, how did this man accumulate 7.5 million fans on YouTube? It boggles the mind.
Well, there are patterns in things, deep patterns, deep recurring patterns.
Yes, that is the whole point of a pattern, that it recurs. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a pattern.
You know, human nature, the fact that we're human, that the humanity itself is a recurring pattern. It has characteristic shape. And
what a bunch of meaningless hogwash. Humanity is not a pattern. Humanity is a group of organisms, and the fact that something has a characteristic shape doesn't make it a pattern. And atheism, anyone? What does all of this has got to do with atheists supposedly missing something?
Great fiction describes the shape of that pattern, and the greatest of fiction, the greater fiction becomes the more it is religious in nature. And
Oh, what? Even more nonsense. Great fiction doesn't need to be religious at all. In fact, the Bible is one of the most poorly written books I'm aware of. Totally overrated, loaded with nonsense and immorality.
That's not even a claim about the nature of truth. It's more a claim about the nature of experience.
Oh, sweet mother of Gandalf, how can anyone take this man seriously? A claim about experience. So what? What does it prove? And again, when are you finally going to show that atheists are missing something?
You know, when we say something is profound, what we mean is that it's moving and that it has a broad influence. It's capable of having a broad influence on the way we think and see and act.
So now you are giving some kind of definition of the word profound. How is that relevant to anything?
So if you read a profound book, like one of Dostoevsky's books.
And this is what Jordan Peterson likes best, showing off that he has been reading Russian literature. It really separates him from those of us who don't give a crap about Russian literature.
You could say of that book, and people often do, that it changed my life when I read that book.
Yeah, so books sometimes change the lives of people. Fine with that. The God delusion. And God is not great. Did it for me. Very profound books.
And a story that can change your life has a power that is best described as religious.
No, a story that can change your life is best described as a life-changing story. You are again changing the meaning of words to fit some kind of theistic narrative that doesn't make any sense.
And so religious is a kind of experience in some sense, rather, in addition to a claim about what constitutes truth.
Yeah, so religious people say they've got some kind of experience. They think that an invisible character is talking to them, and they claim that this invisible character exists. All of us already knew that. Do you've got anything new to say? And preferably, could you finally reveal what atheists are missing?
And then those stories in Genesis, Cain and Abel, I think, and the story of Adam and Eve, because those stories are so deep that it's almost unfathomable.
Those stories are deep? If you think that that is deep, you have a very low standard of deepness. Adam and Eve is a ridiculous story about two people who ended up in a garden by no mistake of themselves and then got punished for eating some fruit by the guy who put them there, who made them hungry, and who hung the fruit there himself. And not only Adam and Eve got punished, but all of us for eternity for eating some fruit. That's not a deep story. It's the first story about oppression by an insane dictator. And it doesn't make any sense. Nobody should be punished for something trivial like that. Oh, but it's not literal. Then what does it mean? Obey or you will suffer. That is the underlying message of the story of Adam and Eve. Be obedient or you will regret it. That has been the driving force that keeps Christianity afloat for centuries now. It's not deep, it's disgusting.
And the story of Adam and Eve, because those stories are so deep that it's almost unfathomable, they get at the most profound of patterns.
No, the story of Adam and Eve is not even a pattern. There are no recurring elements in it. And it's not profound, it's pretty superficial. You don't make it profound by just calling it profound.
And so to say that they're literally true is actually to massively underestimate how true they are.
But nobody says the story of Adam and Eve is literally true, especially not us, atheists. We don't even believe it happened in the first place. So this looks like you're again setting up some kind of straw man argument, pretending that atheists claim that the story of Adam and Eve is literally true, which of course we don't.
Because you could tell me what you did this morning, and that would be literally true, but like, who cares?
Well, I don't care about anything you said so far. It's a total incoherent bunch of nonsense, as I am demonstrating in great detail.
Whereas if you read the story of Adam and Eve, it's so true that it applies to everyone always.
No, there is no evidence to suggest that the story of Adam and Eve is true in any way, and the underlying message of the story is not true but rather despicable. The main theme of Adam and Eve is getting punished for not obeying. It sets an example of oppression, and Christian apologists like yourself pretend as if it contains some kind of profound message without explaining what that would be.
And mere literal truth can't do that. And we don't have a good language as scientists, let's say, as psychologists, or even as citizens. We don't have a good language for that kind of truth.
We don't have a language for that kind of truth. Maybe first demonstrate what is actually true about the story of Adam and Eve, and in what way, before moving on to yet another nonsensical topic.
And so, well, I guess I'd like your thoughts about that idea.
Well, to sum it up, you've been talking nothing but nonsense. Your plea consists of one big incoherent mess of hazy references. You demonstrated nothing. You tried to change the meaning of words all the time. And above all, you didn't deliver anything regarding the title of your video, which suggested that atheists are missing something. You only mentioned atheists once in your first sentence, and then you seem to forget about it. Mr. Peterson, the only one missing something is you. And what you're missing is facts, evidence, data to support your claims. You are YouTube's finest example of a word soup charlatan. Sweet uncle of Frodo, what a mess. Well, now that we're here, and now that you know how I totally deconstruct nonsense, then it's about time for you to subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button. And the good news is that if you don't, I won't drown the entire population of your country. I will not send you to the lakes of fire. I will not punish you and your family for eternity just because you didn't push the subscribe button. All I will say is, that's a pity. Maybe next time. You're welcome to come back or turn your back on me whenever you feel like it, because I believe that that is what morality is about. Leaving people in peace, letting them make their own choices, not forcing them with threats of violence. Let me know if you can find any God out there who is prepared to treat you the same way as I do. In the meanwhile, I will keep exposing nonsense and spread the sound of science.